Greetings, St. Paul's Church. I've been preparing the sermon for this coming Sunday, and it's a famous passage. It's the parable of the Good Samaritan from Luke chapter 10. I know that when I was growing up, I often heard people say, "Oh, be a good Samaritan." And I don't hear it as much that often, but people generally understand that to mean be a good person who helps others, possibly who helps strangers. And it comes from this passage where a lawyer asked Jesus, "How can one be saved?" And Jesus said, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself." And the lawyer said, "Well, who is my neighbor?" And Jesus shared this parable. A man was traveling between two cities, walking a long distance away from his home, and he was robbed, stripped, beaten, and left on the road half dead. He was desperate, and a priest was passing by and moved to the other side of the road and ignored him. It's argued maybe the priest was trying to keep himself ceremonially clean by avoiding this dead man or half dead man. And then another religious leader, a Levite, did the same exact thing, saw him and walked to the other side of the road and passed him. And then a Samaritan came, and the Samaritan went out of his way, gave his time and resources, and fully took care of this person, this man, until he was well. What we need to understand is that if you learn a little bit about Samaritans, they were half-breeds. In other words, they were part Jewish, and their other ancestry or blood came from the pagan neighbors who surrounded the Jews, people who worshipped other gods. Not only was their blood mixed, their religion was mixed. They only accepted the first 5 books of the Old Testament and nothing else, and they kind of mixed it with their pagan beliefs and ancestries. So they were looked down on, they were ignored, they were despised in some ways, they were considered the outsiders and the other. That's why it's so powerful that of all the people who helped this desperate person who was down and out was a Samaritan. If you think about it, there's a great blessing in helping other people, in serving other people. The Bible says, who knows, you might be entertaining angels unaware. You might be serving an angel, and this might be a test. But there seems to be an even greater blessing where you're helping someone who is kind of like your enemy. And in this example, the Samaritan is helping someone from a people group that looked down on him, who ostracized him, ignored him, who probably wouldn't help him if he was down. And yet he goes out of his way to help this person who is desperate. I really hope that in your life and in my life, that whenever God gives us an opportunity to help someone, that we would prove faithful and we would pass that test, and that we would give our time and energy and resources, especially if the person we're helping is part of a different group, part of an other, if we can help the other. It would be even better if it's someone from a group that looks down on you and excludes you, and you can help that person and prove yourself faithful to God, that you're going to love God and love people as yourself. Thanks so much for watching this week's video, and looking forward to seeing you this Sunday.